Enough time because I'm going all the way back to 1960. um, I'm the oldest of six, and my youngest brother is 11 years younger than I am. Um, but I was the kind of kid I didn't really think I was different, not until I got older. But I always did what I wanted to. Once my second sister came out, my mom's hands were tied, so I just ran amok. Whether it was going fishing or hiking or whatever. First 7 years of my life, I was raised in the mountains where there was snow in the winter and sun in the summer. It was always green. Um, but for as long as I can remember, I've always done things my own way. Um, Whether it was steal dad's fishing pole and go fishing. I remember one time he had a lure on it, and I didn't know anything about no lure. I used to cast it out and let it sit, wait for a fish to bite. Well, it got stuck. I couldn't get it unstuck. So I ran home crying, and he woke up because he was working graveyard shift, and he went down, and he pulled it one way, pulled it the other way, and finally just went, snapped it off. It's no big deal. Well, I didn't want to lose that, but anyways, I remember taking off up in the mountains. I figure if I'm going up, down would be home. I always got lucky that way. Uh, this was in the first 7 years of my life. The second 7 years of my life was from 67 to 75. And we went from one extreme to another. I was in the mountains where there was snow in the winter and nice and warm and sunny in the summer, to the desert. My dad worked for Southern California Edison, and about every 7 years came a promotion, and he always took it. Excuse me. Um, so we went from mountains, lizards, snakes, raccoons, to desert, where lizards and snakes and jackrabbits and all kinds of stuff. um, Still, again, I had no inclination that I was different than everyone else. But looking back on my life, I can see where I stood out different. Money was so tight that Dad would say, if you want a dirt bike, ask Mom. If Mom says yes, you can have one. So I took on two jobs, delivering newspapers every day and mowing lawns every afternoon. And after about 2.5 years, I had enough money saved up. And this motorcycle came along right down the alley. Well, being as such, about twice a week, I'd take my friends out to lunch. Back in those days, $5 you could buy a big pizza and 2 liter bottles for $3.85. I think it was. I had $1.23 left over every time. But they all loved me. Everyone loved eating pizza. Well, my mother found out about it, and she put a hold on any kind of withdrawals. I didn't know this, not yet, but one day I went in to go buy this motorcycle, and the lady that was working the teller said she was a new lady, and it was just around lunchtime. So I got up there, I asked her for the amount for the motorcycle, and she goes, I'm sorry, we can't do it, not without a second signature from Mom or Dad. And I threw a little fit. I think I was maybe 11 years old. I threw a little fit, and she was the only teller, and there was 4 or 5 people behind me waiting to get told. So I threw a little fit, and I said, you know what? Just close my account. I'll take my money somewhere else. And she didn't know what to do, and she closed my account. So I'm running down the street with wads of money in my pocket. And first thing I did is I went to another bank, and I asked them if I can open up an account. Well, the lady said, sure, we can do it. She went over and talked to her manager, and the manager said, well, where are your parents? I said, they're at work. And he said, well, let me think about it, So he let me open up an account. And with the understanding that one of my parents was going to come down and sign for it later. I never got him to do that. And then I went and bought my motorcycle. I was so enthused, so excited. I got one of my little friends that he had a dirt bike, and I could park my bike over at his house, and he could ride it anytime he wanted to. Well, lo and behold, his mother called my mother, told me about it the minute it happened, thinking I might have stole it or something. But I think I had that hidden there for about 4 or 5 months before my mom finally told me to bring it home. And caught, and it was no big deal. They let me go riding as long as my homework was done, and but whatever. But looking back on the thing, the whole situation with the bank teller, I've been a little manipulator all my life, and all I did was get better at it. Well, high school was different. We moved from Boulder City, Nevada to Glendora, California, and the school years are like a couple of years difference. They're more competitive out here, and they got more of a drive. So I didn't fit in too well right away, but I got in on the baseball team, and started hanging out with the people with long hair. They always accept you, always. So that was my story. Then lo and behold, then the drinking and smoking pot became more important than anything else. And my whole ninth grade year, I didn't earn any credit. And you need about 50 units of credit for each year to graduate. So I went to the high school, and that didn't last long either. They sent me right over to continuation school. I had it made there. I worked as hard as I did in ninth grade at Whitcomb High continuation school, and I graduated when I was supposed to. Yeah, making extra credit here, sweeping, mopping, go figure, helping grade papers and whatnot. But I was always very active in sports, football, basketball, and baseball. And what's funny is when you're popular at them, people gravitate to you. You know, you don't have to go start a conversation with somebody. It's always brought to you. And like being in the limelight all the time. But as soon as high school was over, I didn't know what to do. All these relationships that I thought I had went by the wayside. So I took on another job, dealing. Everybody loved cocaine, and that was my big mistake there. I made good money for a couple years, and had my relationships back, but only because I had something they wanted. And well, not until around 82 or 83, I got into a motorcycle accident, and it broke my hip, or broke my ankle. And well, I was laid up in bed, and I've always been a person who go nonstop. That takes me back to a story when I was in the desert. They had a public plunge, and it was open from 10 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night. But from 5:30 to 6:30, it was family night. They'd clear the whole pool out, and then the families could come in. Well, it was a small town, and I knew everybody, so I just jumped back in with the family I knew. And they always knew where to find me, especially in the summer months, down at the local plunge. I remember a couple of times my dad had to pick my face up out of my food because I fell asleep in it. Yeah, go. I didn't know how to stop. Mom was always telling me, Jimmy, you got ants in your pants? Sit still. Stop it. And but looking back on all of it, I realized I was a little different than others. I had too much energy. I couldn't sit still. Always had to be on the go. And what was that? Nothing. So in high school, after high school, I got to become the big dealer. Everyone knew me, even the cops. They threw a couple of surprise visits on me, but they never found anything. I always kept everything in my car. Well, lo and behold, after that accident, I got busted for possession, went to jail, got out, started doing good again for about a year and a half, got busted again for, now they call it home invasion. Me and a couple of the fellows used to go and do collections, and whether it's TV, stereo systems, jewelry, Hey, either you stay, either you stay in contact with the guy you owe the money, or people like us come and knock on your door. Anyways, that was a rough time in my life. I I was always shaken because I had that adrenaline rush, you know. I ended up doing 7 years on that one, the last charge. Yeah, I told them it was only me, and they knew better. It was more than just me, but I'll take my lumps, but I won't tell on nobody else. Anyways, fast forward a little bit to about 2 years ago. Well, I lived on the street for a while, but my kind of living was getting on and off buses, selling dope, and then going back to my little spread. I had two of them, tents and bedding and lanterns, all kinds of good stuff. But it never got me anywhere. You know, half the time I was staying in other people's motel room because I had what they wanted. And well, why pay for it if you don't have to? You just break off little crumbs. Anyways, anyways, about 2.5 years ago, I made a commitment. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. And what I did is I made a commitment with God. Okay, all these Christians running around here telling the same story, telling the same lie, or is it true? So I gave myself 1 year with him. And lo and behold, at the end of that year, I'll make another commitment. Well, at the end of that year, I made another commitment. I'm all in. I'm all in. I know I'm a little rough around the edges, and yeah, I'm a little rough around the edges, but slowly but surely, I'm becoming the person that my mother and father wanted me to be. You know, throughout all this, I used to. I've been a carpenter. I've been a plumber. I've been an electrician. Um, been a framer, tile, tile floors, tile counters, you name it. When I got interested in something, I dove in. I wanted to know all about it. But the problem is, once I knew everything about it, it became a routine. So it's time to learn something else. I work for a company called Angelus Block, and I was their maintenance man. All my job was to do is watch everything move, see what's wearing out, what needs to be replaced. Do we have it in stock for a maintenance day? If not, get it on order. Um, but that's what really took off my welding career. We have to these big feed boxes. They shoot in and shoot out and drop concrete in the mold and shoot back and then pounds it down into it with the head. Anyways, they wear out. They're good for about 6 months. Then you got to pull them out of this machine and cut them all up, just the old worn parts out. They line it with tempered steel. It doesn't wear as fast with concrete. But anyways, long story short, that was my job, and I was pretty good at it. They were upset to see me go, but oh well. I remember a time I was out in the cold, had a pocket full of money, a pocket full of dope, and it was raining, and couldn't understand why I was getting rained on. What can I do to change this? And I didn't. I just sat there in the rain. But that reminds me of that old feeling, sick and tired of being sick and tired. Well, I entered a Christian uh, program down in Orange County, and I did the full year. And that's when I moved up here to help my mom out and do little side jobs. But My only thing was, down there, I had something to do every night and every day of the week. So I need to get plugged in up here. And Chase was right. I got right on him. I found out who he was, picked his brain. Same with Stone. But I needed to be plugged in. I've been here almost every Wednesday night, but also that wasn't enough. Bible study, church, um, everything I can get my hands in. I got to stay connected, and I love that. You know, it makes me feel good. It keeps me right sized, and well, I have a new family now. I don't ever want to go back to the way I was, and I don't have to, even if I want to. Now that I've got a couple years under my belt, I know this is what I want. And sure, every once in a while it gets a little rough, bumpy around the edges, but it's okay. It's okay. If it doesn't kill you, it'll make you stronger. So I plan on being around here a while.